That's where you could catch all my shenanigans, all my wisdom. So is it shenanigans or is it wisdom? All right.
We already starting. Okay.
All right, let me get.
Let me go live over here.
Hold on. We got 1 minute, y'all. I don't have headphones. What's going on? Where are my headphones? You wear me a pair of headphones?
Yeah. I thought you
I
had the good
need
ones on that
headphones.
side.
I need to know if we on, and we got like.
All right, so let me
60
put the
seconds,
microphone right here. I'm live over here.
You just live.
And I'm
everywhere.
live on Facebook, and I'm also live on Instagram, B Rich Scott.
I'm not lying.
Catch me at www.brichscott.com. I am here at WRUU.org.
Yes.
Oh, we
I
live?
got you. I'll let the people know.
All right.
Hold on.
Whatever's in the background, let's turn that off.
We starting already.
Lucky we got some music there.
Okay, y'all, Mike's about to be live. Okay.
All right, turn me on.
RG, we are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. You guys have tuned into Let's See Who My Friends Are. I'm your host here, Ray Carr, the Fit Hypnotist, you know, the one and only Fit Hypnotist.
Yep.
Here in the station with us tonight, we have, of course, the usual Miss Ayana Daly.
Hello, everyone.
Wonderful. And tonight we have a guest.
I got
Special.
What?
I got 3 cameras.
You got 3
Right,
cameras.
that one. I mean, inside.
If you have been with us for a little while, you may remember we had one controversial guest on here before.
I started the controversy.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
He was on here with us before, Mr. Bernard Rich Scott.
What's going on? Trying to organize this over here. Yes.
So, thank you so very much for coming back and chit-chatting with us this evening. You know, this is what we do here at Let's See Who My Friends Are. We talk to somebody here in the community.
Yeah, the camera's on you now, so
We chit-chat. This is the part I don't like.
you don't
But-
like the cameras on?
Nah, I'm okay without the cameras.
Well, I got
you know?
one camera there and one camera on my IG, so I have the Facebook camera facing you only temporarily.
Okay,
Only temporarily.
okay. But, you know, we appreciate you coming out. You know, I follow you on Instagram. I have the pleasure of following you on Facebook and also having you as a friend. So, you know, I get to hear some of the wisdom and knowledge that you have.
Right.
And it's always appreciated and beneficial in my life. So, you know, why not
Appreciate
come on out and, you know, spread it as far and as wide as you can,
Oh,
you know.
well, that's what I tell the ladies. Well, now we can.
Here
But
we
we're going to
go.
spread a little
Oh,
bit
my
differently on this
True
episode.
Gemini. True Gemini.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
God, I love it.
Yeah, we already started. See, that's where the controversy was.
Nah,
oh my
the
goodness.
controversy's nothing. I just take what is there and I just make it a little better.
Understood.
How is it
So,
controversy if
I
we're
know.
not competing?
Right.
It's
Where's the
not my
controversy?
problem.
Well, no, we're talking about the last time I was here when I had certain things to say, and she censored me on a particular group
I
of
missed that one, y'all. I'm
people, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna let that ride. She want no problems out here in the great
Oh.
city of Savannah.
of Savannah,
Oh, is it a
you
secret?
know. But we gonna go there because he was hip to my ways last time.
You wanna
I
go
guess.
there?
So
Oh, wow.
something is gonna happen. I see it. I see. You know, I feel it.
My man GQ Smooth, shout out to him. That was the Cody the last time I was up here. So it was me and him, and it wasn't necessarily a competition or a battle thing. But you know when dudes get together and women get together, the dudes are gonna ride with the dudes for the most part, and women are gonna ride
Hopefully.
with the women.
Hopefully.
But tonight's gonna be a little bit different because there's a few conversations we're gonna get into. But if anybody was following my post on Facebook, I talked about One of the subjects I'm going to talk about tonight is the nature of the Gemini woman.
Yeah.
We're going to go deep in that and heavy.
Dang, I don't know what side I got to pick.
But you are a Gemini, so
I am
let
a
the people know
Gemini.
you're a Gemini.
I'm a 100. I was full-blooded Gemini female from birth.
Full-blooded.
What's your birthday?
May 28th, actually.
May 26th.
Man, high five.
See, there
I'm
we go.
sorry,
Right there.
Ray.
We
I'm
get
sorry,
right there.
Ray.
We Gemini love.
I know, and we just met, y'all.
But here's,
That's how Geminis
Geminis connect
roll.
like that all around the
Yes,
universe. But
yes.
here's the well, I'm not gonna say problem. Here's the question.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna see how much of a Gemini you are tonight, because there's one thing a Gemini has in their DNA. From what I experience is when we hear bold-faced factual truths,
True.
we gotta go ahead and rock with that.
Right. Honesty, straight up, got to give you the right answer.
Right.
Now, if it's a lie, I'm not gonna be able to.
No, if it's a
agree with
lie,
that.
then we'll get to the. We'll not say lie. If you feel something doesn't apply, then we'll go ahead and tackle that.
Okay.
I'm ready for that.
Okay.
But while I'm here, I want to get all my platform out to where I am and where you can find me. Is that all right, right? Because you know that I want you to do your show, and I don't want to, you know.
You don't want to take over or
Yeah,
nothing.
but she
right?
knows I was going to take over. This is the
Celebrities.
B. Rich Scott takeover. That's
How
what it is.
you a host with a host?
The
Right.
whole-
Well, she has a co-host usually, right?
Right. But
All
no,
right.
that's not the same. She's interviewing a host.
You know,
Right.
I think he said he's gonna let me do my journalism
Right.
thing. You
Well,
know,
I
so,
said we'll see how it goes.
so this might
my
not be
gosh.
my show anymore. You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
but yeah, absolutely. Please tell the people, you know, where they can follow you and how they can receive from you this knowledge that you
Knowledge that
sending
I
out there. Yeah.
All right, like I said earlier, those that's watching me on Instagram, B. Rich Scott. Those that are on Facebook, Bernard Rich Scott. Those that are on YouTube, B. Scott09. And those that are on Google Play or iTunes, The Secrets of the King's Language. And those that want to get deeper with the game, who want that paid knowledge, you could go to the patreon.com/King's Language. I think I'm through with that.
Oh,
Let's carry on.
okay. It's out
Thank
there.
They can find you.
They're going to find me
Okay.
if they want what I got.
Yes, so we always start this show off, you know, we're asking just a couple of questions. We just say, you know, how has your week been and how is your weekend going to be? Who wants to
I'll
start?
let the lady start.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm fantabulous always, regardless, good or bad. I had a wonderful weekend. A wonderful week. Dang, I went back to the
All the way
old
back
time,
to the
right.
weekend. Mhm.
The week was it was great. It's not extra spectacular, but it was great. You know, I was doing the Rihanna work. But the weekend, I plan on enjoying my 3 days off. If sleep happens to be introduced into that process, I will welcome it. You know?
Good stuff. And our guest?
Oh, we're going to go with mine, not yours? Or
Yes,
did already tell me?
yeah,
Oh,
you're the guest. I'm the
well,
host.
my week actually started last weekend when I got the chance to interview Mr. Yao Morris, Master Yao Morris. And let me give a shout out to him and his book right here, The Awakening of the Master Masculine. He also have the book, The Awakening of the Master Feminine. And I had the pleasure and the opportunity to interview him along with Grace Grant from the Free Spirited Black Woman. We had a chance to sit down at his home and have a real in-depth interview with him. And you could also catch that on my Facebook page and on my YouTube page. When I say that man is the most insightful and the most knowledgeable human being that I ever had the presence of being around,
Yes.
I say that, truly.
Yeah.
And
And that was an awesome interview. I got the chance to watch that. That was amazing. So much information and so much knowledge. I shared it on my Facebook page
that's
as well.
next level knowledge.
yeah,
That's
it's-
not even in this a spiritual being realm. This is on a whole different.
Right.
And he even kicked that on air.
Yeah.
He kicked a lot of good game on air, but we sat around and chopped it up after, and man,
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to that point.
Yes, good stuff. Likewise, I had a really good week. Got some sleep in because, It's been a slow kind of week for work, but other than that, it's
Sleep,
been
girl,
wonderful.
for you, that's amazing.
I know, you know me, I'm always going. But then the opportunity to do this is amazing. So let's get started with Mr. Bernard Rich Scott.
We're taking calls right now. What's the telephone number? What's the number? Do we got a number? I ain't never heard these phones rings ever.
you want to give out the telephone
Sure,
number?
give out the number just in case somebody want to call and see what's
True.
popping.
You know, if you are listening to us out there in Radio Land and also there in Facebook Land,
Yes.
the telephone number here is 912-712-5077.
Now, if I got any crazy exes that's calling, you're going to be blocked and shut down immediately.
Wow.
We don't want no problems up here. This is Gemini takeover.
Okay. I got you.
Oh shoot, y'all would be the ones with the crazy exes. Oh my goodness. I ain't fighting.
Kaiser Soze, I'm just saying.
So one of the things that you that we started with last time you were here was talking about, you know, the various signs, and you wanted to come and tell us, you know, about the nature of the Gemini woman.
Gemini woman, very specific
Yes.
in that. But before I go into that, I want to ask you, what do you know about Gemini in general?
Gemini. See, my experience with dealing with Geminis. My brother is a Gemini.
The one that...
No,
Oh.
not that's my baby brother, but the one that's between the older one though. He's a Gemini. He is on one hand, he's very there is that idea of like a split personality type thing, you know.
Gotcha.
He could get angry on, you know, go from 0 to 10 as far as anger. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how much of that is a Gemini trait as it is, you know, just growing up and some of the things that he's experienced. On one hand, he's, you know, very affectionate, touchy, feely, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, very, and then on the other hand, like I say, can be very stern, very direct. He's petty. You know, you know, he has some petty traits. He does have some petty traits. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have petty traits?
I'm not telling anybody.
So let's go.
I don't think I have.
I know. I got them down too. Shoot, I might have to come on every month and do a different sign and just. But go ahead. I'll let you continue with that before I go into what I'm about to talk.
Yes, we are petty. I'll go ahead and put that out there.
Let me bring this camera on over here. So, but go ahead, continue on. I've just got to bring it over here so that.
Always, he is very. He always had a girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Duke, if you're listening.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But you ain't saying nothing because they don't. What regardless, like a girlfriend. You didn't say who at what time. So,
You know what I mean?
you didn't do that.
So very friendly and outgoing, but then also have that side like don't, you know, where it's very to himself, and keep stuff to himself, unless it's somebody that they really trust.
Okay.
But that's what I think I know, but that's been my my complete experience with.
All right, so
She has 2 other Geminis that she's familiar with.
And
that's
then-
what I'm about to say. So we going in. We get look here. I'm gonna cover all the bases. We good.
And then they talkative.
Ooh.
They talk all the time, a lot,
Okay.
and they. Why are you looking at
We're
me
not
like?
talking. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Remember the first
I'm just
one?
saying that was the thought.
Finish your thought.
Okay, that was it. I'm done.
You're done. Okay. Well, you're a Gemini. So, what has been your experience on what people think of you of being a Gemini?
Geminis have been accused of being very promiscuous. Not necessarily promiscuous, but cheaters in general. That terminology is 2 different things to me.
Okay.
Because if you're not a Gemini, you don't understand that if I'm not in a committed relationship, it's not cheating. It's not until we say, and we both agree
Right.
that we're in a relationship that way. Other than that, it's not cheating. So but everybody else perceives that as a whole different matter. Like, or Geminis, because we use so many words, that we have a capability of lying or bending the truth. And that's the stereotype. But I would like to say that for me, Geminis are the most unique, malleable, influential. We breathe, we think music, we have art, and so there's no limitations for us.
Right.
But everybody sees that as uncontrollable and reckless, and that's what most people, other signs, won't understand. But they love it. They love what we bring.
They love the chaos.
Yes, but it's not chaos for us. It's
not for us.
strategic.
It's not.
Right.
But here's what I will say. So we're gonna get into it, and there. The last time I was here, I wanted them to have a disclaimer for someone like me. So here's my disclaimer: the opinions that I express out of my mouth are my personal opinions and not the opinions and the views of WRUU. So let's get that straight. So next time, I hope y'all can record this so the next time I'm on here that y'all could just play that so I don't got to do that. But, and nobody told me to do that, but you know, when a lot of stuff is opinion based,
yeah,
you're speaking generally. You're speaking from your point of view. You're speaking from what you see. You're speaking from, you know, your experience. But just like I say, when psychologists first got into doing what they was doing, you know, they was reading through books. They had assignments. They had homework. They had a lot of stuff to read. But somebody had to write those psychology books. Someone had to observe those people. Someone had to look at that behavior. Someone had to go ahead and articulate how to make people understand that.
Right.
Yes.
So what I say and the things that I'm about to express, now I have experience with the things that I'm talking about, but it might not be for everybody. And some people, I feel like some people will disagree. But
yeah.
the Geminis, like I said,
Oh, here we go.
that rock heavy are going to understand this.
Yes.
You said Geminis have a reputation of being promiscuous.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, you know, also cheaters, but they're not the same thing. Cheaters is somebody that, you know, made a commitment to someone who stepped outside that commitment without telling the other person.
Right.
And promiscuous is just doing what you want.
Right.
Geminis occupy both houses in that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean is this, and I talk, and again tonight is about the nature of a Gemini woman. Not saying that, you know, we can't talk about the men because I'm here for all of that, but I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, and this is what I do. I do this. Gemini women are the most promiscuous women of the zodiac.
What?
I could
What
have.
Scorpios, man?
See,
Just
boom.
saying.
See, Scorpios and Geminis are the most hated sign because we have the most personality and the
Right.
most power,
Right.
and people gravitate towards us and love us. But the thing about the Scorpio woman, even though their planet is ruled by sex and they got that whole sex thing attached to them, they like to be in committed relationships. Because of their emotional attachment to things, their chaos will be a lot different than a Gemini chaos, because our chaos is in logic and reason. So as a woman, you're able to balance that because you're not deeply rooted into your emotions.
Right.
Scorpio women, now any woman can be promiscuous and deal with multiple men at the same time, even though that's not a woman's nature. But women
Right.
can do it and are doing it. But the easiest zodiac sign that could do it is Gemini. And I'm not going to say, I probably could say Scorpio women might fall way lower on that scale just because of that emotional. Now, they could have sex with multiple people, yeah, they could do that, but their emotions get so attached that it's draining for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something they wish to do. They'd rather be in a relationship.
Right.
Where a Gemini, we could get, we don't want, let's just be honest.
Not all Geminis.
We want,
Well,
all right, not all Gemini, but Gemini, think about what we are. We're the air. We want to be free. We
True.
want freedom. So a Gemini woman can maintain 2 successful relationships whether the men know about it or not.
Right.
Because the Gemini woman doesn't get so emotionally attached, and in doing so, she has more of a masculine tendency than a lot of other zodiac signs.
True.
Taurus and Leo are other female zodiacs that have that masculine energy, so they could get away with a lot more other things that, you know.
Would you also attribute to the analogy of the multiple personalities
Yeah, we're going to get there.
and
We're going to get there.
separating?
Well, most people talk about Gemini having 2 personalities. That's false. We have multiple personalities
Right.
because most people have 2 personas.
Right.
So just every other zodiac has 2 personalities.
Mm-hmm.
When you deal with the Gemini, I literally say we're the gift and the curse. There's a lot of things about, you know, all zodiacs is either the devil or an angel, and then Gemini is Satan.
Right.
There's a reason for that, because when you deal with someone who's very logical and rational on the highest level, then guess what's going to happen on the other side, on the darkest level, the irrational, the impulsive,
It's gonna go through the roof.
right. It just doesn't
The
resonate.
pendulum swings.
Oh, it
The
swings.
pendulum swings to both extents. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Extreme.
swing. Yeah, it,
It doesn't
doesn't
stop in
swing
the
on
middle.
one side
Right,
and
no,
then
just
go a little bit over here. It swings to both extremes with
Yeah.
with the same vigor and fervor.
For good and evil.
Right. And the thing also about the Gemini woman that's very unique, again, is because of that real logical side that it is. Like, literally, as a man, I don't want to feel like I'm dating another man. However, with a Gemini woman could be as feminine as she want to be, but still have that logical and masculine that it's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, you're not dating a man, you're dating a female, but her logic is such on par with yours, which
Right.
also sometimes makes it very difficult for 2 Gemini partners to be in the same relationship.
Exactly.
They're very good as friends. They could
They
rule the world.
compete, right?
Yeah, it's a competition thing, and then I don't think it's necessarily so much a competition as more as we know each other's game so very
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Geminis are either going to be passive aggressive with aggressiveness,
Yeah.
if you understand what that means.
I do because I'm a Gemini.
Right.
I get it.
And a lot of people don't understand what passive aggressive with aggressive. It's basically, oh, I'm gonna be kind of cool in the gang and let you know where I'm coming from, but you're gonna know where I'm coming from.
Right. Like I would think it like in martial arts, when the woman's art is really soft and real flowy, but she also has a lot of strength. It's more like silly putty versus a straight fist. Which one is
absorb.
stronger?
Right.
You know, and that's how Gemini women we operate. We're gonna tell you which way to go, but it's more like Tai Chi versus Taekwondo.
Exactly. And also within that emotional spectrum, the problem happens is when you make
yeah.
the Gemini woman mad.
Yeah,
When people say that Scorpio women are the women that cause the most destruction because they always say you don't want to get on the Scorpio's bad side. You don't want to, they got no.
stick and move.
The Gemini woman is the one that will come to your house and set it on fire while you're in there. The Gemini woman is the one that will come and bash your car windows while your child is in there.
Yeah.
You do realize that Left Eye was the one that burned the house down
Yeah.
with her Gemini
Yeah.
ASS.
I'm just saying.
So, Gemini women, when it comes to the emotional part,
Supposed to spend
they
it
do
either.
not deal well. And if any woman out there is a Gemini, if I'm lying, I'm flying.
Ooh, I will have to concur with that, sir. Don't make me mad. I mean, I love you. I got you. But by the time you figure out that you've been destroyed and removed.
Well, here's the other part of that thing. When a woman has an issue with a man and it comes to the place where the man gets angry, the only thing the woman has to worry about, and this is going to sound like I'm taking it lightly, but I'm really not, the only thing the woman has to worry about is the dude killing her.
Mm-hmm.
When a woman is mad, the man has to worry about, is she going to kill me? Is she going to have someone else kill me? Is she going to ruin my reputation? Is she going to take me to court for some BS charges? Is she going to lie on me? But with a Gemini woman, it goes deeper because remember what I talked about, that mental side? They don't just do normal stuff.
Right.
They do intricate grandmaster next level type of stuff that you will never know is coming and wouldn't know where it's coming from unless they
Stop
told you it's coming
telling
from
my
them.
business. See, now they know I'm capable of insanity. They didn't know. They didn't know. That was that part that I put in the back. You know, you have a personality that's like, shh, you just throwing meat every now and then or something
Right.
in a cage. You just like, don't, shh. You can't get that one out. And you just told them I
Well,
have one.
this is what I do. I speak truth to power because it is true. And if Gemini, and I'm just talking about Gemini in general, if they had to have a mascot or a symbol, it would be the Joker or it would be Tommy Egan from Power.
Oh my God.
Those will be the faces of Gemini.
I got a poster in my room that has two jokers on it, and I call it the Gemini Lounge where the jokers play.
Wow. Wow.
That's crazy.
That is.
Go ahead, Ray. I turn the
Really?
mic over to you for
Really?
a little while I reload. But what we got going on over
I
this
mean,
screen?
but what?
Let's answer some of these questions if there
Yeah,
are any
no.
questions.
No, just people watching. No questions as yet. But if you guys, want to come check us out, if you're listening to us on the radio and you want to come check us out, we are on Facebook. We do Facebook Live. It's Let's See Who My Friends Are, This is what we do here. We have you come out and we have you, give your
My
take
personal
on
views
life.
does not reflect the station.
Yes, we have you come out here. I think that everyone deserves a platform to kind of say the things that they want to say. Now, we said that the Gemini woman is, you say, one of the most promiscuous.
Because they're able to control their emotion without getting so attached that it causes them any type of emotional damage on a long term. Now, again, depending on the woman you are, but for the most part, out of all the zodiac signs, they're more capable than all the other ones of maintaining that type of promiscuality.
Maintaining.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Maintaining it without much damage to them.
Right.
Well, at least they think that at first,
Right.
and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So, do you think that is to their detriment? Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing, or does it matter?
Well, let me just be clear. It's not good for any woman to be promiscuous. Just if you understand sex magic, which I spoke briefly about the last time I was here, and if you just understand the laws of nature and the laws of male and female, whenever a female has multiple sex partners, specifically different men, that man is downloading his energy in that woman, and she doesn't realize it unless she understands the type of stuff I'm talking about. So let's just say hypothetically, you're a woman whose energy is very vibrant. You have a good look on life. You're very cheerful, and one day you go out to a club or go out to an event, you meet a male. Y'all chop it up, decide that you're going to have intercourse. Now, your disposition is still the same. You're still cool, you're still all of that. But you didn't get a chance to really know that dude so well. So you engage in sex. A couple days later, maybe 4 or 5 days later, you start to notice that you don't feel the same. Your energy is not as vibrant as it was. You might be in a little bit of depressional state. You don't understand why.
And it may not even be a physical disease.
Right. No, it's not. In
Right.
fact, it's not a physical disease. It's a mentally and emotionally, but you didn't understand that man had a lot of depression, a lot of guilt, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of pain in him. You didn't get the chance to know him. He downloaded all of that emotional trauma into you, and you don't realize that. There's a lot of women right now we don't understand these laws, we don't understand these powers, we don't understand the universe. There's a lot of women right now walking around feeling this type of way. They don't know why, but why don't you check the history of the dude that you're dealing with currently right now?
Right. Well, what you're saying, okay, so I'm processing that information. With being a Gemini and we're so interested in knowledge and information, and as you
Yes.
said, we have the ability to separate different emotional traits. So we probably have the ability to encourage more downloads because we do.
We do, but even though we have the ability, we'll go with women. Because men, it's a little bit different. It's a different game. But women, Gemini women, do have the capability to have more downloads per se. But at the end of the day, whether it's one download with a virus or 20 downloads with a virus, it's still a virus.
One virus.
Right. So you got to be careful.
And that's what I'm trying to allude to is that knowing this, that we have this trait ability in us, does not mean that we have to participate in it.
Right.
Exactly, and this is what I often tell people. The best thing about if you know the zodiac and you understand, look at the negative traits, because that doesn't have to define you, which usually it defines a personality or a zodiac. So I say to people, well, if you look at your negative traits and you understand that and manage how to control it,
Right.
then you already winning half the battle. So we know that Geminis are impulsive, erratic, and all this other crazy stuff. So because I know that, when I make a decision, I think a little bit more than I would have before. When I know that I might have an emotion that might not be truly what it is, I'm in that moment, I'll sit back and chill for a second compared to what I used to do in the past. So, and this is with any zodiac that has those negative traits. Just look what those negative traits are, see if it resonates with you, and if it does, you already got half your battle right there on how to proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think this is a good time for us to take a little bit of a break. We are at the halfway point. We have to say some stuff on the air. So, chit chat. Hold on for a second. We'll be right back with you.
The Savannah Stage Company.
All right,
presents
I'm still
Talk
live
for
though, so
Wrestling.
just let you. So just so y'all know, but carry on. Oh, you still live over here too.
Still
Yeah.
live, too. Yes,
You
sir.
want more? You want more talking? Or what you want? You want me to keep it flowing? I'll keep rocking and
I'm out.
rolling.
Uh-huh.
Look at you! What? I'm done. I'm gonna let you talk. Look at her face. Look at her
What?
face.
What? No,
Look at
I'm
people. See,
enjoying
my
it.
people
I'm
can't see her
enjoying
face
it.
right now. Look at her face. She's
Well, her face has a smile on it.
yeah, but we understand that smile. Inside. But you want more airtime, baby. You want more time.
We got like 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
They
Stop
keep this
it.
pushing over here.
Nah, you good to go.
Nah, but transition to something or talk whatever. Let me cook. Whatever questions, whatever y'all want to do, I could cook with it. Actually, I do want to, before we go. Well, I'll wait till we come back on.
I don't know.
I heard numbers. I don't know what's going on either.
You guys, you are listening to WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. You've been tuned in here with Let's See Who My Friends Are. Y'all know this is what we do. Evidently, this is what we
What we
do.
started doing ever since I got on the scene.
this is what we do.
I'm on
So
the scene, and it came down early that we don't have 2 hours, but I'm gonna veto that. 2 hours tonight,
Wow.
everybody. 2 hours tonight. You
they
rocking
gonna
and
go
rolling.
kicking in the doors.
Ain't nobody coming on
I'm
after
gonna be
this. We're going to
gone.
rock
I'm
and roll.
Oh my goodness! But that is some very interesting information. A lot of people don't really subscribe to, things about the signs and things like that. I mean, if somebody would have said, you're a Cancer, so X, Y, Z is true for you. If somebody would have said that to me 10 years ago, I'd probably have been like, meh.
Yeah.
8 years ago, I'd been like, maybe, but that stuff, no.
Hilarious.
But now, I pretty much have fit the mold at some point, for that. So, outside of looking at the zodiac signs, how else do you kind of classify people and their nature and things like that? Before the summer, you were on a quest for information and knowledge, and I think that is something that you have followed very vehemently, over this past couple of months. So on the other side of it, I see the growth. So tell the people, about what else it is that or how else it is that you help folks and things like that.
Well, let me piggyback off of something you said. You said that, the zodiac, some people might not believe in this, that, and the third, and I could understand that, and there are plenty of people that don't believe in none of this stuff, but here's what I say to these people that don't believe. You don't have to believe. just like the laws of the universe and the laws of nature, they're going to apply, and things are going to start happening around you that you think are beyond your control. And at the end of the day, you design your life. So if you feel that you want to live in a life that's just happenstance, things are just happening to you and you're not in control of anything, then that's what it's going to be. And that's where hundreds and billions of people are doing right now. So when they hear things that sound kind of kooky, crazy, way left field, it's like, okay, well, what I'm doing in life right now ain't working, so it'll be smart to try something different and see if that works and see if these laws or these natures or these zodiac signs or traits apply. So, again, you take everything with a grain of salt, but I have enough life experience to know that what I see out there in the world right now is not working. So something else has to be different. Something has to work for somebody. So that's part of what I learned. Back to the Gemini is about knowledge. We're the communicators of the zodiac. We're, like you said, the artists. We're the Kanye West. We're the Aaliyahs. We're the Tupacs, the Biggies.
Yep.
However, we are the Trumps too.
Yep.
And it's funny because, I have no hat in the ring when it comes to politics. But at the end of the day, I understand this type of the stuff that is going on with that man. But he's a Gemini, so I understand him as well. Even in his craziness, I understand him, which is again,
Gemini.
It's a Gemini thing. And here's the funny thing. The question now becomes, let's say hypothetically that none of this stuff is true. Why do all Geminis resonate with each other?
Yeah.
And that's a hypothetical question. I noticed that, again, because we're communicators, and I always tell people that don't believe in this type of stuff, find out what your ex was, find out what your best friend is, and see if any of those traits apply to them. Now, I also do understand is the rising moon, ascending, and all that type of stuff. So just because you're a specific sign don't mean that that's how your personality is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But just like the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, this corresponds to those laws. So it's going to apply that's what it goes down to. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be here. So you don't have to believe it. I tell everybody all the time, if I say something that's the truth, or someone tells me something that's the truth and I don't believe it, it's still the truth whether I believe it or not.
Right.
So that answers your question in a roundabout way.
And that's what we do, right?
Yeah, that's what we do. We go all around the road and people think that we miss what we were supposed to be
And I
and we
want
get
you to
right
make
back
sure you
on it.
understand.
But my journey has been dope.
Yeah.
My journey has been dope, and I wouldn't have it no other way. But also in saying that, do understand anybody that's on their journey, whether it's spiritual or not. You're going to have obstacles that's going to come in your path, and that's going to try to disrupt you. And that's the universe's way of letting the universe know you are who you say you are. Because if you're going to let something take you off your game, then you don't deserve to get the rewards on the other side of this game. So that's something in which I understand. I've been through a little bumps and bruises along this way of knowledge, but this is my passion. I would die for this. So there's nothing going to come in my way that's going to distract me from what I ultimately need to do. And when you come from that type of passion, the universe just opens up everything that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about, the knowledge. The knowledge will always be here.
Absolutely. Knowledge is infinite. It's just the willingness to tap into it, the willingness to receive it and acknowledge it and then apply it,
Right.
What else do you do?
Oh, you want me to take over? So, put the camera on me. Camera 1, 2, 3.
Camera is on.
So you know what? I
what
kind
I'm
of just got her
saying?
off her game. So I'm about to take over this show tonight. So instead of her asking me what else do I do, because everybody out there that knows me, and I know a lot of people don't know me. So I'm a personal trainer. I'm a nutritionist. I am now a life coach. As of 2 days ago, I'm an ordained minister. That's real. I'm an ordained minister. Now, I can't marry people at the moment until I go back to Massachusetts and get that all situated. But I could do that. Also, I coach men when it comes to relationships in the discipline on the stuff that they need to do for themselves in order to become a better version of themselves. And, I'm a master learner.
Yes.
So I'm always looking for knowledge. I'm always looking for a sign that this is what I'm supposed to do. Well, I know what I'm supposed to do, but this is what's supposed to be for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm all of those things. You
Yeah.
can't contain me. I'm everything. And I still got that book coming out. I don't think I plugged it the last time.
The last time you were here, no, we didn't get an opportunity to talk about your book and what it is you're writing and what inspired you to start writing a book. So first, hit them with the
title.
With the title.
The title is Foot Fetish: The Chronicles of a Gemini.
Oh, okay.
That's the title. I also forgot www.berichscott.com. I forgot to get that plug in. That's where that's my website where you get everything. So you can find the YouTube, you can find the Facebook and Instagram. You can also find the pre-orders for the book. And I've been writing for a while. I've been writing for, I don't even want to tell people, like the people that know me know how long I've been writing, but it wasn't until this year that I decided that this needs to be done. And it changed. Because if you've been writing for over 5 years, and especially if you come into a new growth, your whole style and a lot of things are going to change. So I kind of had to start writing this book all over again. And the inspiration came from, again, Geminis. We're very creative people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a book in them. Every single person to the sound of my voice has a book, a story in them, but it takes discipline and it takes a steady mind, a quiet mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that in it. And as a Gemini, our mind is all over the place.
Always.
All over the place. But I wanted to tell, and I'm going to have a few books, but I wanted to tell my story. And it's a novel, it's not like a book where, I'm going into the mindset of how it is to have a foot fetish. This is more of like a erotic novel about my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's based on my life, and then it has, my fetish. So my fetish is a comments of the storyline, but it's not like one of those things where it's like a damn book you're reading in school, and this is how the psychology happened of a person with a foot. No, it's nothing like that. So this is for everybody. Everybody who likes everybody who likes a little bit of erotica.
Okay.
Is for those people, and knowledge as well, because I'm the reason in
Message.
got some spirituality in there, and I'm glad that I took the time that I've been taking to write it, because just within the last month, new stuff has happened to me that needs to go in that book. So, so yeah.
Sounds good. For the people, no, I'm not going to ask you that. I was gonna. No.
You was gonna go ahead. You want to write it? I mean, you want to say it?
I was gonna say, in your clean, without using any of those words on
Or their
there to
cousins.
this, or
Or
their
their
cousins,
cousins.
yeah, or their cousins. Tell them, what a foot fetish is, what it's not, and what they can expect in your book.
So a foot fetish basically is a fetish that arouses someone sexually. Mm-hmm. So a foot will arouse someone sexually. A lot of people might get the misinformation that a foot fetish is like. Now don't get me wrong, it is free. You're a freak, but a lot of the
Tone of voice changed.
But when you see it in movies or something, it's portrayed as someone who's obsessed. And someone that, like, I've seen a couple of shows, and I know it was some sitcoms, and they got it kind of over-exaggerated. But for most people that have a foot fetish, it's not an overly obsessive, kind of crazy type of thing that, oh my God, none of that. That's extreme.
Yeah.
People talk about stuff, and they bring it to the extreme of the thing, and that's not what it is. But, again, it's someone who's attracted to feet sexually, and they are aroused by that. So that's basically what a foot fetish is. Now, my book, again, it goes into my life in with me dating numerous women. And in fact, I wanted to do something unique, and I don't know how unique it is, but it's unique to me. I also had 4 women in my life write a chapter in that book as well. So I get different perspectives of how, the women seen the interactions in the course of that relationship or the course of our interactions. So it's I'm a Gemini. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be different.
Right. You got both. I see you got both masculine and feminine energy in that book.
Definitely. And actually in the story, I tell a story from my. So there's 4 characters, and I'm not gonna do the names, but all the characters are me. So I'm coming from the guy's point and the female's point.
Oh,
I'm a Gemini. I can
that's
do
what's
that.
up. That's what's up.
But a lot of people could do that. You know, you see a lot of books like
You can do
Michael,
that.
Eric Jerome Dickey, Michael Bazin, and
True.
Zane. They could do the same thing. So it ain't
Yeah,
nothing.
true.
It ain't
Yeah.
nothing.
So, what do you think about? And I know because I follow some of the things that you say on Facebook and things like that. What do you think about the state of, male-female relationships and how just men and women just relate to each other, even just on a normal, everyday, surface level, and also, in
Not necessarily a relationship. Just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey,
just how we relate to
working.
each other. Period.
Well, there's two answers for that. We could talk about just in general, like you said. We could talk about black men and black women, which I'd rather talk about.
Okay, let's go there.
Okay.
Let's talk about black men and black women.
Unfortunately, black women and black men, we feel like there's a competition. Well, I don't think the men feel that, but the women feel like there has to be a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And there is really no competition when it comes to that arena. It's like everybody has their role, and their role should be accordingly. However, now this is where the white society comes in, because they're leading the direction on which society is going, not the culture, which is a different. Black people lead where culture goes.
Mm-hmm.
But they're leading the direction, and in that direction, it looks like they're trying to put women more on par with men, which unbalances the natural state of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And black people, as we know, we follow what the dominant society does, and therefore it takes us out of our natural roles. And when we're already on the bottom portion of that, it makes it even more difficult, and it makes it a little bit, you feel it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, and we're not even talking about relationships, we're just talking about in everyday life, there's always some type of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could understand competition between men in some aspects, but I cannot understand competition with women when it comes to all aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we need to address, but unfortunately, it's like a double-edged sword, because on one hand you have, the men who feel like, okay, the women are trying to compete with us as far as being men, but then you take a look at what the men are doing. Like,
I mean,
how do you feel comfortable putting on a dress, Pharrell?
right.
How do you feel
right.
comfortable about that?
A blanket, a whole blanket, and
Men, how do you feel comfortable? And then so,
and onesies.
but I'm gonna say something that, and this is a shout out to Black Dot on Urban XTV. He said, because he's a dude who looks at things from different perspectives. I'm on my way to that perspective. I'm not quite there yet, but he said, these people who do these things that we look down upon, like, he's putting on that dress so you don't have to. So by the time that children get to a stage where they don't need to do all that. And on some level, I have to kind of just not be, I can't narrow-mindedly not take that point of view and put it in my back pocket and say, you know what, that's true. You look at like Tyler Perry. Look at what he's doing for all types of people. And look at what, what people say about him and where he came from. So on some level, I understand, but men are not being men. That's what it boils down to, because we lead, women follow. So if we was a nation of leaders in the right direction, then women will follow in the right direction. But instead, I feel like they have to follow their own direction, unfortunately.
I think that I was thinking about something similar to that. How when you have horses, say for example, you can break if they come out of the wilderness and they're wild. If you break the mother, and she gets pregnant, she's going to teach her children to be broken. So if she's thinking that I don't need a man, I can do this all by myself, guess what that structure does? It's broken down. Right. You no longer need the head of a household because you're working in autopilot. And then he no longer learns how to be a head of household because there is nobody to follow.
But here's part of the problem, sister. Here's where a lot of black women get it messed up. When they talk about they don't need a man, and I'm not saying all, again, remember, everything I say take with a grain of salt. But when most women talk about they don't need a man and they're doing it all by themselves, those women are usually on Section 8. They're usually getting food stamps, they're getting welfare, and they're getting child support. So please don't tell me you're doing it all by yourself unless you literally and really are doing it all by yourself, because then that changes the narrative. And a lot of women aren't doing that.
Well-
and brothers, we need to make sure we hold them responsible when they talk that BS.
Now, there are a lot of women that are providing for themselves.
No,
Now,
you're right.
I
You're
mean,
right.
but it's
But
not-
not what society and the culture will have you believe.
right. That's what I'm
Sure.
saying. So that's the downfall. They want us to have that mindset and encourage. Me, I'm a little different. Of course, I
You're
said I'm a
Gemini.
Gemini.
Right.
Right. So I don't have a problem with the term submit.
Oh,
I
there
don't.
you go. There you go.
Because it's
not a bad
it's
word.
not a bad word. It's just been used poorly.
Exactly.
So if you don't know your role, then of course it's going to be conflict. If you as a woman, you are actually like the support system. You submit, you support to his mission. And if he doesn't have one and you chose to support him, that's your fault.
See,
Well, now you
that's
just-
my thing. I always say, you know, men want to be leaders. Leaders go first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that, I think, has been an issue in that women aren't seeing the men go first.
Well, that goes
You
back to
know,
what I was saying, that we, again, I still have to hold us responsible. But then again, it goes back into a circle because unfortunately it goes back to, okay, the men are in the home because the women are on that, okay, I don't need a man because of
Right.
section and all that.
Right.
Therefore, they're raising these men. And what happens is
The next
women
generation.
raise boys to be what they want, ideally, but what they don't
Bingo.
attract and get sexually.
Bingo.
So they raised their sons to be everything that that woman wanted. She wanted a provider. She wanted someone gentle, someone soft.
She can never make him a man.
Right, but not even just that. But when there's a man out there with all those attributes that she want her son to have, that's
Yeah.
trying to call her and get with her and go on a date with her,
Yeah.
she's looking for somebody else, someone like me.
Ooh.
But I am a nice guy sometimes. Sometimes I'm nice. I'm nice sometimes.
Yeah, I was wondering how long that other side.
No,
was
no, that was a stretch. That was a stretch. No, but that's interesting. That because that's not what you typically hear men say. You know,
Yeah.
you typically hear men.
Brag
pretty
about
much-
how many women they have, and
No, not even that. Just you typically hear men, you know, in the, you know, what's wrong with relationships.
Mm.
You know, you typically hear men say that women are what's wrong with
No, because at the
relationship.
end of the day,
Um,
those are men that don't understand the law. Again, everything comes back to the laws of nature, which comes back to the laws of the universe, which comes back to the laws of male and female. There's a natural order of things. Society has messed it up, so how are you going to correct something that's already messed up by doing more messed up things? So,
that's messed
men are
up.
leaders naturally. When men get out of the pattern of not thinking that they don't need nobody or need to be coached, I tell men, if you just shut up and listen to women without judgment, you'll learn a lot. But just like we were speaking earlier, a lot of men don't. In order to get to this point, you got to be comfortable in your feminine. You got to be comfortable in your submission as a man.
Yes.
Because I understand, even though I'm a leader, my woman's going to be just as thorough as me, so I'm going to know when to submit to that woman. She's going to see things I can't see.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Helpmate.
You know, as in alpha's a terminology that I'm going to go away with because let's just be real. All men are alpha and beta at some point in their life. All men that are alpha, some women sees that man as beta and vice versa. So again, that's perspective speaking. So I don't care how alpha you are. There's some woman that's looking at you like, nah, son. So with that being said,
I agree.
you have to be comfortable as a man in order to keep growing. And some of the things that you thought you knew in the past or some of the things that you resonated with might not be for you no more. You have to be comfortable letting those things go in order for you to get to the next step. And that's where a lot of dudes spin their wheels, staying on old methods and practices and thoughts that they had about women or just society in general, and it's still stuck there. And meanwhile, that woman had progressed, moved on, and
Society's
moved on in the centuries.
Moved on, yeah.
And women grow
Experiences.
at a faster rate when it comes to men. A lot of women outgrow men, and that's the thing right there. As a guy, if you've been with your woman for a while and you're noticing changes in her pattern as far as her being better, spiritually and emotionally, that's a sign for you to step your game up because I could almost guarantee you got 6 months or less. Because women, they move fast when they start moving. And no matter how fast they move and how far they go, as a dude, you could always go up a step level higher if you understood that, because we're leaders. We're meant to lead them. So what's going to happen is, while she's growing, trust me, she got somebody, her eye on somebody who's already grown to the point she wants to be, because she needs that elevation as well.
Wow.
I
How,
agree.
wow.
So,
Yeah, well articulated.
This is what we do.
Yes, that is awesome.
we just have our last few minutes before we wind down tonight. One of the questions I always ask before you leave is, given the platform, what is one message, something that you want the people to take away, on just
Everybody's
life, period. Yeah. The millions of viewers and listeners that we have.
The secrets and the laws of the universe are all within each of us. The problem is, well, not even a problem. The question is, how much pain do you really want to go through to find that? Because I'm at a crossroad right now myself. When you go to a level that's, there's certain plateaus, but after you hit that plateau, you want to break through to another one. And sometimes that's going to come with a cost. And I know a lot of people who did certain ceremonies to shed their old self to rebirth their new self. But in those ceremonies and in those times of clarity, you're going to have to go through a dark, dark, dark path.
Yes.
So what I would say to everybody is continue to try to grow as much as you can, whether that be reading, whether that be somebody like a mentor, someone who's a coach. But if you don't have access to none of that, if you see me, you have access to some type of communication via internet, so you can read up there. But meditate. It's in you. It's definitely in you.
Yes.
And it's just going to be dependent on how far you want to take this. This isn't for let me say that. This is not for everybody. Some of you need to stay exactly where you are, because that's all you're ever going to be.
Wow.
That's all you're ever going to be. But for those who wish to aspire to be
y'all
more,
can't have this.
this is what we need to do. Follow people like me.
I agree with you. Meditation,
Yes.
and then reaching and finding, information that challenges what you already know.
Right.
A lot of times people find information that sounds good and feels good to them. But find information that challenges what you already know. I think it's true when it's said that every just about institution, everything that we go through from the hospital that we're born in up until the funeral home, that buries our body, that is a construct that is a system that's put in place to just keep us slowing down and slowing down and slowing down and not living the life that we were meant to have, that we deserve to have, that we absolutely can have, because we all yield that power. Like you said, some people, just don't want to elevate and be out of where they are. And that's fine, because that makes the people that elevate, that makes them that much higher. When, from
The burden.
perspective,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Remember what Master Yao did say, though? He said, life is supposed to be about experiencing the most pleasure you can, but a lot of people, they rather reside in that pain. It's just, that's just, because the pain, the pleasure is so much more powerful than the pain that they're scared to experience that. Well, I'm looking for all that pleasure.
But you get the pain, but then you can also seek out the euphoria, the fake euphoria, to make it mask the pain. But you don't associate
but here's the thing. Until you really feel how much pleasure, like it's almost like you don't know what you don't know. So until you feel that,
it's like, oh, that's
look
fake.
I know we got a little bit of time here. How graphic can I be?
Not
I gotta be
we don't
articulate
need any
graphic.
We are literally sitting in a church.
Yes. Yes, sir. We don't need
I'll
any
say that.
color.
I'll say that for another time.
We're in the silent movie.
Let me just say this: adult male and female. If you have ever had the point where you wanted to overflow, but you were so scared because it was going to be so intense, you didn't know what was going to happen. That's a real thing. That's pleasure. Pleasure principle.
Start singing a song.
Well, there you have it. I am not going to even attempt to add anything to the end of that one. You guys, You've been listening to Let's See Who My Friends Are, and Bernard Scott is definitely a friend to the show. You just seen a little bit, a smidgen, a sprinkle of who he is. Of who he is on here. You have his information to follow him. Definitely do so. It's some wonderful information there, and in his way, he does deliver some real deep and unchangeable truths. The laws of the universe, no matter who delivers that truth,
Right.
it's still truth.
It's still true. You don't have to believe it. Okay.
But yes, thank you guys. This is WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Send me all the stuff to my inbox.
And me too. BK09.
I don't have no site. Y'all can't follow me.
Wonderful. Y'all have a wonderful night.
In IG, y'all are closing in 3, 2, 1. Have a good one.
Oh,
And Facebook, thank you for joining me. I will have this rebroadcast up here, so it's the end of it, so you can watch from the beginning. And I'll also have it on YouTube at BKScott09.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye-bye. Can y'all see me? Oh, hi. The whole thing. The microphone is in my face.
Oh,
It's all good. Bye, Facebook.
Good
I definitely could
night.
have rocked for 2 hours on this. That was fun.